It has now been over 2 years since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, drastically altering the international geopolitical landscape. The nation's flag carrier Aeroflot has had to deal with the consequences of this military campaign, including the imposition of sanctions and airspace bans. Since our last deep dive into the Aeroflot fleet in February 2023, a few changes have taken place, including the removal of several airframes. There were 173 aircraft listed as part of Aeroflot this time last year, but that number is now down to 168. With data coming from planespotters.net accurate as of early March 2024, the types of aircraft in the Aeroflot fleet as well as their quantities are as follows: 50 A320-200s, 6 A320neos, 32 A321-200s, 3 A321neos, 12 A330-300s, 7 A350-900s, 37 737-800s, and finally 21 777-300ERs. As you can see, Aeroflot is now fully comprised of Western aircraft, having transferred its small Sukhoi SSJ-100s to another airline. In terms of airframe quantities, the current fleet is about 65.5% Airbus and 34.5% Boeing, while the average age is relatively low at just 8 years. This is helped by young types such as the A350-900 and A320neo, subfleets which average a little over 3 years of age at the time of this video's production. The number of aircraft operating for the Russian carrier is clearly on the decline, although one smaller reason is due to some jets being transferred to Rossiya, another airline in the Aeroflot group. Nonetheless, between early 2022 and early 2023, Aeroflot lost 7 airframes. This was mainly due to aircraft seizures and repossessions at the onset of the invasion. The quantity of airframes on paper has again declined over the past year, but only slightly. Comparing planespotters.net figures from last year, we can see that the airline lost 2 A320-200s, 1 777-300ER, and 2 Sukhoi Superjet 195s. A few of these airframes may have already been inactive and stored during our last fleet examination and were then recategorized retroactively. Indeed, several Aeroflot jets still listed as part of the fleet have not flown for over a year. However, we can see that one A320-200, registered Romeo Alpha 73175, was removed recently in January 2024. This jet is simply listed as stored. Interestingly, it looks like the airline will soon add 2 Boeing 737-900ERs to the fleet. How is this possible, given sanctions that have been put in place by the United States and other Western nations? Well, the pair of narrowbodies come from Rossiya. Both Boeing aircraft began operations with Rossiya in August 2023. Prior to this, the aircraft flew for Indonesia's Lion Air between 2018 and 2021. They were then stored for all of 2022 and part of 2023. While aircraft being listed as parked is just a regular part of airline operations, it demands more attention and scrutiny when it comes to Aeroflot, particularly due to sanctions and the fact that spare parts may be hard to come by at this point. An inability to service the jets due to a shortage of parts is admittedly just one of several explanations for the parked jets, as routine maintenance or a simple lack of demand could also explain their inactivity. At the time of this video's production, 18 aircraft, close to 11%, have this parked status. Those 18 parked airframes are as follows: 7 A320-200s, 1 A321-200, 5 A330-300s, 1 A350-900, 3 737-800s, and 1 777-300ER. The number of A330-300s parked stands out as interesting, given that this is nearly one half of the total A330 fleet. Looking more closely at these parked jets, we can see that Romeo Alpha 73701 and Romeo Alpha 73702 haven't flown since October 2022, while Romeo Alpha 73787's last flight was in late September 2023. RA73784 is listed as undergoing maintenance at Tehran's Imam Khomeini International Airport in Iran. FlightRadar24.com data indicates that the jet has been in Iran since late November 2023. Aeroflot sending A330s to Iran for maintenance is something we've known about for about a year now. Simple Flying first reported this type of activity in April 2023, noting that the airframe-registered Romeo Alpha 73700 had flown to Tehran to be serviced by Mahan Air, Iran's largest privately owned airline. The jet reportedly was sent to have maintenance performed on its chassis racks. The two countries were said to have signed an agreement in the summer of 2022 in which Iran agreed to supply Russian airlines with spare aircraft parts and provide maintenance services for Russian-operated planes. Russian state media outlet RBC noted that Iran was chosen as the country is, quote, not afraid of secondary sanctions from the United States or the European Union. Having been under its own Western sanctions for years now, Iran has acquired extensive competence in repairing foreign aircraft and their components. In November 2023, we reported that Aeroflot was planning to collaborate with Rosatom's State Nuclear Energy Corporation to produce replicas of aircraft parts from Airbus and Boeing. While we aren't clear on the current status of this collaboration, we know that the plan was to begin production in the first half of this year, meaning that such parts may already be installed on Aeroflot jets. As reported by Aerotime, Alexei Mikhalik, Aeroflot's General Director and Technical Director, spoke about the process, saying, "We will be engaged in the development, certification and production of aviation components for all types of foreign aircraft, for cabins, aircraft trunks, structural repairs and so on. The following areas are planned: air and water filter elements, plastic, metal, composite, honeycomb, rubber products, composite products, electronic equipment of the passenger cabin, inverters, power supplies, sensors, heating and lighting components, lighting and display equipment." Producing parts domestically will be the simplest way for Aeroflot and other Russian carriers to keep their aircraft operating. However, acquiring aircraft parts from other countries has also been another proven method. Recently, in February 2024, we reported that Moldovan companies had reportedly brokered aircraft parts to Russian airlines valued at $15 million. This is in addition to an estimated $1.2 billion worth of parts for Airbus and Boeing aircraft imported since May 2022, according to a report by Reuters. This loophole was facilitated by non-sanctioned countries like Tajikistan, the United Arab Emirates or UAE, Turkey, China and Kyrgyzstan. From analysing fleet numbers, aircraft status and flight history, it's clear that Aeroflot is one of numerous Russian carriers impacted by sanctions. In fact, the extended downtime demonstrated by several parked airframes suggests a shortage of spare parts. At the same time, it's clear that Aeroflot and the government are keen to keep their jets flying and Russian travellers happy, a goal achieved by bypassing and undermining sanctions. Thus, it'll be interesting to see if there are more reports of unauthorized parts importations or a successful replication of parts domestically. All of this should keep aircraft flying far into the future, particularly if Iran's Western-built jets are any indication that sanctions can be circumvented long-term. Of course, Aeroflot just needs to keep its narrow-body aircraft flying long enough for Russian-built jets to enter service and take over. After all, the airline is still planning to operate the MC-21-310 and Tupolev Tu-214 in the future. What do you think of the current status of Aeroflot? Share your thoughts by leaving a comment. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.